Alright, hello and welcome to another Why Would You Use? So, today we're going to be talking about the Atterax. This is a weapon that has come a long way since it was introduced. And it's not due to any, crazy buffs or anything that this weapon received. It's just kind of due to just new mods that have been added to the game. Because, a long time ago, I would have said never use this weapon. Because Shadow Debt had not happened, and Prime Reach wasn't really a thing yet. So, let's look at this thing. So this weapon has a 25% base critical chance, which didn't used to be crazy, but is now crazy. And has a 3.0 critical multiplier, which didn't used to be crazy, but is now crazy. And 20% status chance, which has always been pretty good. Couple that with, well, regularly very high slash damage, being boosted by Buzzkill, of course. Makes it so that this thing usually procs Slash, which is arguably the best proc in the game. Some consideration for crowd control versus damage, of course. And has great critical stats. So that already would make it fantastic. But then on top of that, this thing has a reach that can compete with the Orthos Prime, which, as we've seen, is fucking enormous. So now it's hard for me to find a reason why you wouldn't use this weapon. And honestly, if you ask me that, I wouldn't really have a good reason why you shouldn't. Because it's just kind of great. Like, it's the halfway point between the Nikana Prime and the Orthos Prime, and it's just useful in, pretty much every situation where you're not fighting, a million Ancients. It's just a really good weapon. And that's with no Forma. If you added Forma to this weapon and you added, a Weeping Wounds in here, or, obviously, what's it called? I always forget. Organ Shatter, for even more damage when you're critting. That just puts it even farther along. And, obviously a maxed out Life Strike would help this weapon, so you can heal more with it. It's got a shit ton going for it. And I'm really glad that I was advised to rebuild this thing after I had sold it from so long ago. Because it's fucking great now, so let's just get to it. I want to show the combos for Burning Wasp because they're actually really good for this type of weapon. And then we'll get to it. So, Burning Wasp. The basic combo, just left, right, really good. Obviously, these horizontals are fucking fantastic, but this vertical at the end here is also really important because this weapon is really heavy on the criticals and hits really hard. This last one here is a headshot, which means that when you get those headshots on units that, let's say, have a ton of health, a heavy gunner, you fucking ruin them. So, learning how to aim that last hit is not really necessary, but is really good. So the basic swipes of this thing, already fantastic. Putting no thought into this weapon and just mashing E, totally a thing you can do. But, of course, beyond that, you've got your pause combo, which is these really nice horizontals that are enormous, and are obviously incredibly good for groups. And then you've got the hold combo, which is one of the unique hold combos that you can do just from nothing by just holding E, which goes into a more focused hit, which we'll show now. Which is also quite good. I tend to just stay in the camp of spamming unless I see a very large group that needs to be hit, and then I'll usually do the pause combo. I don't much go for the hold combo, but it is pretty good if you need it. So let's get into this test, because it's not gonna be hard for this weapon really at all. Nope, that's not the test. That's the other test. That's me making sure this thing had momentum, which it does. That's actually really important. This weapon fucking has momentum. So, unlike, that's really actually an important point. I'm glad I remembered that now. This weapon has momentum, which the Nikana Prime does not. And the Orthos only has it on certain hits in the combos for polearms do have momentum, which means that this weapon is it's really hard to stop you. Because it's got that one element from heavy weapons that you don't usually see on the later weapons, like the Destreza and stuff. And it's just it's making a really good argument for this fucking weapon, let me tell you. It's really actually very weird for a weapon to have come this far, because this weapon was at one point, pretty bad. The only thing that's bad I can say about this weapon is what you're seeing there is kind of the ramp up to the damages. And you're seeing the headshots there. Gotta get rid of these guys. You can see the immense reach on this thing. And how I can just kind of swing forever. Like, nothing can slow you down, so you kind of don't even have to care about your enemies. Which is why I'm usually in the camp of just swing the damn thing. Because if you're pausing ever, you are potentially dying just from being knocked down. Which would be no good. But yeah, you can just swing right through bombard rockets. Like, as long as you're swinging, nothing can stop you. Like, no one can stop Mr. Domino. Headshot, as you can see. No head. And it's just, like... You don't, like, you don't even have to care. Like, I just kind of... It's really good. Like, it has momentum. It has enormous reach. It's got respectable damage. It's just, it's got all the right elements for just being a weapon that you don't even have to give a fuck, and you just kind of swing this damn thing. Like, Chroma loves this thing. Let me tell you, Chroma can't get enough of this fucking weapon, because he changes it from, like, respectable damage to stupid damage. Completely unnecessary in a lot of cases damage. In a huge range that Chroma usually doesn't really have access to without, say, a Tonkor. So he's a big fan of this thing. And, like... It just ends up being real fucking good. It's just really strong. But yeah, thank you to the people that suggested I rebuild and retest this shit, because it's damn good. And that's why you'd use the Atterax, because it just kind of fucks shit up. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.